Howdy! It's a weird way to start a video. On this video, we're gonna talk about reprogramming your subconscious mind for good, okay? And we're gonna be utilizing two powerful tools. One, this thing down here, like we like to call, is the delayed mirror, okay? Delayed mirror, this is one of the most powerful concepts that I've ever come across. These are my little notes. Usually I just come right off the top, but there's a few things I want to make sure that I don't miss. And then, here's a big boy right here. The Bible, okay? So we're gonna dive into this. And this is coming from a guy that kind of gave up on this guy not too long ago. Well, for quite some time. You know, I grew up Christian, went to church, I found it boring. And then now this is like my main thing for manifesting and programming the subconscious mind for good. And here's an interesting thing is that, like, I even had a Bible. I have a Bible, right? And I was recommended to get this bad boy. Look at this thing. This is a man's Bible. This is girthy, right? This is actually called the Business Bible. And I got this because that's how important this stuff is to me. And on another upcoming video, probably the next video I'm gonna make, I'm gonna be talking about how the 10 Commandments is probably your best tool for manifesting. So if you guys would like me to make that video or that interests you, let me know down in the comments. As we always say here, make sure you're taking notes, leaving them down in the comments, because to know and to not do is to not know. So go ahead and learn this stuff, internalize this stuff, and teach this stuff to yourself by leaving a comment down below, okay? So let's dive into, I wanna start with this guy right here, okay? And I want to start with a Bible verse that I read today. It's part of my morning routine these days. I go up on the roof, get some reading in. We do this thing called the Bible stack, which again, that's what I'll cover in the next video. But I actually switched over to Jeremiah 1. I was doing Matthew, like I talked about on a previous video, last video. But I felt called to kind of shift gears a little bit. And so there was a scripture here that really spoke to me. Okay, and it's 19 if you want to follow with me. This is actually the NSB version. Okay, so this is Jeremiah 1:19. It says, "And they will fight against you, but they will not overcome you, for I am with you to save you, declares the Lord." And so one thing I really want to double click on here, I haven't really shared this too much, and again, I'll share it a little bit more on the video where I walk through the 10 Commandments. But I'm not here to tell you what the scripture means to you. I'm here to read it and show you what it means to me and what my interpretation is. And that's part of what I call the Bible stack, or what I've been gifted a technique and a tool called the Bible stack. Okay? So what this means to me is we're talking about how he talks about they will fight against you, right? And so they, I like to refer to as your lower self, as the devil, as the opposition, as the lower frequency, as your old self, whatever you want to call it. There's all different words, but they will fight against you, but they will not overcome you, for I am with you to save you, declares the Lord. I'm here to save you because I am with you, right? And so we're going to dive into this quite a bit, and I hope you like my drawings. I had fun with that. Okay, so even though I don't want to wipe this away because I'm just so proud of these drawings, maybe we'll leave the Bible here. But give me some good energy down in the comments. Let me know what's speaking to you guys, even from that, and we'll get to it. As always, we have our therapeutic sounding whiteboard. Always having fun with this, having a good time. Seems like people are taking interest in this based on the comments in the Skool Community. We're doing our 30-day manifestation challenge as well. So if you're on that, let us know that you're fired up about it. So first off, the thing I want to talk about here is coming back to that I want to say lyric, but it's scripture. What is God's name? All right, I'm going to ask you that again. What is God's name? What is the Lord's name? Were you expecting that? God is within you. Quick story is one of my more profound mentors that helped me really come back to self and understand myself. And he took me through a deep coaching, and it was a lot. It got me through a lot, and it also was a lot. But it helped me come back to self. And it was interesting. We had a conversation. We got a coffee one day, and he asked me, "Who are you?" And I want to pose that question to you. Who are you? Okay, think about that. Let me know down in the comments. Who are you? But then when I asked him, my answer back then was like, I am me. That's how I responded. But I asked him the same question. He said, I am God. And when I used to hear people say that, I thought that sounded very egotistical. Like, you are God? You are the God, right? What was interesting is because he reframed my mindset around that. He said, I am God because you are God, because everyone is God. We are all God because we are all connected, right? And so I want you to consider this and keep in mind on this, is that I am. And let's come back to this scripture real quick. It says, and they will fight against you, the devil, lower self, but they will not overcome you. Devil, lower self will not overcome you, for I am with you. I am with you to save you. The Lord is with you. God is with you. He is here to save you. Right? You picking up what I'm laying down? So let's dive into this. Understand this. And this is going to be very relevant on our next video when we talk about the 10 Commandments. I'm really excited to make this video already. But I definitely want to get into all this stuff about the Bible, about higher self versus lower self, and the delayed mirror, and a few other concepts. So let's dive into that right now, because this is really important for you to understand in terms of your subconscious. Because if you don't understand the difference between your higher self, your lower self, and what's actually going on, because there's an internal battle going on at all times. Can you relate to that? Can you understand, and have you felt that there's an internal battle going on between you and your lower self and your higher self, and there's this constant battle, and until you understand what's going on in this battle, you'll never overcome the lower self. Okay? So that's what I'm here to do, to help you understand. So, let's talk about this battle. Okay? Lower self or the higher self. You could also call it God versus the devil. You could also call it the old self, higher self. You could call it those are a few ways that we can explain it, okay? The lower self versus the higher self. Devil versus the God. Old self versus higher self. Lower frequency versus desired reality, okay? These are all just names that, it's whatever you want to call it. It's not that big of a deal. But the point is that like there's this battle going on between a higher version of you, the higher God, or the lower self that wants to hold on and cling on. That's why it can be very challenging for you to let go, is because there's this old self that wants to stay. That's what's comfortable and what's like they know, right? Because until you expand into that next level, things can be challenging, because it's like that's all you know is your lower self, okay? Your old frequency, right? It wants to keep on clinging and pulling you down because it doesn't know what's capable. But the God in you, okay, the higher self in you knows that there's infinite possibility. It knows that abundance is your birthright, as we talked about in the last video about God frequency, right? So once you understand this and you understand the battle that's going on, then we can start actually choosing to win this battle, okay? Now, here's the thing. This is important to know. there's the fight, okay? This is the battle, or it's the fight that's going on at all times. And as we talked about in the last video, is that depending on what your attention goes to, okay, whether your attention is going to this side of the equation, then you're going to feel better, and therefore you're going to attract better into your life. You're going to attract abundance into your life. But if you're putting all your attention on these guys of the lower self, the devil, old self, lower frequency, then you're not going to feel good. Right? You're going to have those dense emotions, and that's what's really important. And you're going to continue to attract more of that. Why? Why are we attracting more of that? Well, let's talk about what actually feeds these guys. What are they hungry for? Well, we talked about in the last video as well. Again, I encourage you to go watch that one. But this lower self, we'll just talk about lower self versus higher self, just to make this simple now, so I don't have to go through all of them. But what does lower self and higher self feed on? It's actually, give me one second here. What feeds them, okay? What helps them grow? Because the more that we give attention to them, the more that they grow. That's why the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. It's a constant, you're either spouting up or you're spouting down. That's the only way it goes, right? So how do we feed this? How do we grow the higher self? I'm actually gonna... How do we grow that? How do we feed it so that it gets bigger and bigger, and then it gets stronger and stronger, and then therefore we attract what we really want? We reprogram that subconscious mind for what we truly desire, because once that subconscious is reprogrammed for what you desire, that's when your desired reality actually comes to fruition. Your subconscious controls literally everything. So it's about reprogramming that by feeding either the higher self or the lower self. And you've probably been feeding your lower self for your entire life, because that's what's programming you in society, right? So what actually is feeding this lower and higher self? Emotions. And like what we talked about in the last video, even further, strong emotions. Okay? Think about this. We talked about in the last, I know I'm referencing that quite a bit, but it was such a good video. But when people have dense emotions like fear, anxiety, stress, those are strong emotions. Just like the guy that was on the airport or on the airplane with me, he was pissed off. He was angry about people not getting off the flight, which was ridiculous. But it was a strong emotion. He had a strong frequency there, right? No one could have told him anything. And that was ultimately feeding his lower self. Okay? And that's where I'm gonna put this one. I'm gonna hammer this home forever. Is emotional conviction. Emotional conviction is what makes your emotions stronger, right? So these strong, dense emotions, if you continually let those emotions derail you and you react to those strong emotions, you're just solidifying deeper and deeper. It's almost like you're digging a hole. And so when you react to these strong emotions, say like something frustrates you, we'll go with that. That's a really good thing to think about, is like when everything's going great and you're like working really hard, and this will tie into the delayed mirror in here in a second, but when you're going really good with the with something, and then all of a sudden something happens. Like for me, I got like things were going really well, and I actually got a parking ticket on my birthday. Okay, on my birthday for parking too close to a stop sign. Absolutely ridiculous. After I just got my brand new license plate, figured all these things out with the DMV, felt like I was just in the clear, and all of a sudden I get to my car and I parked too close to a stop sign, so I got a ticket, right? And at first I reacted to that. And so that's what the lower self, that's what the old self, that's what the devil wants you to, it wants you to react, because it knows when you react to those dense, strong emotions, like frustration, what happens? It's actually digging a deeper hole. And then something else happens, and it's easier. So you're in a deeper hole, and then you get frustrated about being deep in the hole, and then that digs your hole deeper and deeper. And every time you react to these dense emotions, these frustrations, it digs you deeper and deeper and deeper. And then it's so much harder to actually like make that jump to come into your higher self. Right? It's a lot easier to make a jump from right here than it is down here. Right? Once you get down here, and that's why, again, so many people get so stuck in dense emotions and can never get out, because they just keep on digging the hole deeper and deeper, because they're constantly reacting to frustration. That's why, again, we come back, one of the other videos I did is the whole concept of cause and effect. Effect is the physical reality, right? And cause is on the mental plane. You have to think about it. You have to build this in internally, and then everything you see outside is an effect of what you built internally. Everything is ultimately a mirror of what's going on internally. So if you're trying to change your external reality with more external reality, that's ridiculous. That's like just jamming the system, right? There's a cause and then there's effect. Cause and effect. Cause leads to an effect. Effect leads to a cause. And it just keeps going like that. You cannot go effect to effect. That's like punching a wall, right? Something ridiculous, right? But here's the thing, is that this goes the same, like this higher self version of you, it's built on strong emotions as well that are positive emotions. Fear, faith is what I was referring to. Peace. And so that's the whole thing down here I want to say, is that it's about responding. Not reacting. Because when you start reacting, you dig a deeper hole. But when you respond, even for me, like I had a couple calls that were booked for today, a sales call, that potential new client for our accelerator program, entrepreneur that really wants to take things to the next level and raise her frequency, remove the subconscious blocks for good so that she can scale her business, scale her income, scale her impact, and become a more fulfilled version of herself with a more relaxed nervous system. That's what we help in the accelerator program. But that came up today where she canceled the call last minute. And so as I've been understanding this stuff more and more, instead of reacting with like, oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated. Like I thought we were gonna have a call, and I thought, we're gonna have a conversation about her potentially getting on with our accelerator program. If I would have reacted like that and let the frustration take me over, I'm just digging that hole deep. And then it's making it harder for me to actually get into my higher self. And that's why this battle going on internally can be so tough for so many people, because they're constantly just reacting, right? But if you make that internal shift and you understand this whole concept of cause and effect, that your external world is simply a reflection of what's going on internally, then you can change it internally, you can change the cause, and because of that, the effect is just going to happen naturally, and it's all going to go your way, because then that's when you're actually stepping into your highest self, okay? So when I respond, I'm like, oh, she'll probably reschedule, or, if it wasn't meant to be with her, that's fine. Like, we'll have more people that come through. And that's why it's so important when we talk about in our programs a lot, in our Skool community, we're going to create some more trainings around this, but it's why it's important to build out what's called abundance creation, which is basically giving you more opportunities so you're not so dependent on that single opportunity. So for this example, with this gal that has, potential to become an accelerator client, if that was the only lead that I had, then I would be holding on a lot tighter, right? But I know I have another call booked here in a second. I have another call on Sunday, and I have another call next week, and we're constantly building more people. So like I have an abundance, and I've been able to create that through marketing and cultivating relationships and utilizing social media. Now I can operate more freely because I know that there's more leads coming in, and I am abundant because that is my birthright. So I know that internally, that's the cause. The external is the effect, but I'm also building abundance in the physical reality. Right? So that's why it's really important. And again, that's more of a response. Okay? That's a faith-based mindset. That's a peace-based mindset and that is the strong emotions, right? And then because of that, I'm building this deeper and deeper, and I'm getting stronger and stronger every time I'm responding with more faith, right? And then that's why my higher self will continue to win. However, that sounds all great in theory, right? And I want to talk about our good old boy, the delayed mirror, because this is honestly, like I mentioned earlier in the video, like this delayed mirror is probably the most powerful concept. And we shared this in our school group yesterday. It was a really powerful conversation. We have these calls every Thursday. As of right now, we might shift things around, but really powerful conversation around the delayed mirror, and we gonna talk about it right now. What's alive for you guys? What's speaking to you on this video? Let us know down in the comments. Until you take notes and then you leave your notes down in the comments, you're not really knowing it. You're not teaching it, and therefore you're not knowing it. Because the only way to know something is to teach it, and the only way to teach it is to know it. It's kind of like that cause and effect. Okay? So, let's talk about the delayed mirror. This is, such a beauty. I'm gonna check how much time I have here. Cool. So, the delayed mirror. So this is our mirror. Stick with me. Makes a little bit more sense, right? Because it's got a frame. Like all mirrors have a frame, of course. So then what else happens? Okay, in a mirror, we typically have a person looking into the mirror. We'll just say this guy's happy. Okay? And then what happens? What else do we have? Well, we have a reflection, right? So let's make sure and draw these out. So we have what's called okay, so there's two parts to a mirror. Basically, when you're looking in a mirror, you see your image. This is your image. You can look at it. It's actually what's going on. This is the physical reality. And then the mirror is just the reflection of what is looking into the mirror, right? But here's the thing, is that it is what we call a delayed mirror. Life really is a delayed mirror. Okay, and so why you might have noticed is that you might even question this. Is like you say there, all right, so here's the image. This guy's got his hands up, he's got a smile, right? And we're even, actually I'm gonna do this too. So why is the reflection not exact, right? When you look in a mirror, you look at the mirror and you smile, the reflection is smiling, right? You have your hand down and then you raise your hand, you look in the mirror, and the hand is up, right? It's a direct reflection. But that's not how life works. That's not how the delayed mirror works. okay? It's a delayed mirror, and because of that, the reflection is not exact. Because what's going on in the image, it comes in the mirror, but it's delayed. So I'm gonna explain this now. Think about this, of like the image, this guy right here, this is the internal work. This is the higher self, okay? This is the God of you, right? This is your new frequency, your desired reality. You're taking the actions. You're meditating if you're doing the meditation challenge with us in the Skool Community. If you're doing your visualizations, if you're listening to your Vision Espresso every day, if you're taking action, generate leads for your business, whatever it is, right? You're doing all the things that are leading you to the desired reality that you want. And you're working internally so that you can have that reflection externally, right? You're doing all those things. And what happens is that metaphorically now, that's the image, okay? And the image is basically, I'm raising my hand, okay? The image is raising your hand, and that's signified by all the work that you're doing. Everything you're putting into becoming the best version of yourself, that higher self, right? And you're looking in the mirror, okay? And you're looking at this image, more importantly, you're looking at this image, the hand is up, okay? That signifies that we've been doing the work. Amazing. Awesome stuff. We're looking at that. We're proud of ourselves. That's incredible. We look into the mirror, the delayed mirror, and because of that, look, the hand is up, just as I mentioned, right here. The hand is up, but in the reflection, it's down. Okay, it's right here. Why is that? Well, again, because it's the delayed mirror. So what happens in life, and again, this is why I explain this with the higher self versus the lower self. Again, you could even look at it like this, is that the image is the higher self, the reflection is the lower self. So I raise the hand, and I'm excited about that. I'm proud of myself. I look in the mirror, the hand is down. And when I focus on the reflection, I'm like, well, what the heck? I'm putting in all this work, but I just look and the hand is down. I look at the image here, the hand is up. I look in the reflection, it's down. And so what happens is you start putting in all this work, you're doing the meditation, you're believing yourself, you're doing all this stuff, you're listening to these videos, you're making comments, you're being very excited about life, and you're learning this stuff, you're deepening it, you're knowing it, you're working on your business, you're doing all these things, the hand is up. And you look in the reflection and the hand is down. And because of that, you get frustrated. And you fall into what we were talking about, those strong emotions. You find that frustration because you were looking at the reflection and you're saying, this isn't working. And then the lower frequency, the lower self is like, got him. That's exactly what we're going for. We wanted that reaction. We wanted to dig that deeper hole so he can come right back down. So in the image, he drops down, right? And I'm just like, what's even the point? And then all of a sudden, what happens? This is the trick. The trick of the devil, the trick of the lower self, the old frequency. It actually raises the hand, right? Because it's a delayed mirror. So even though I put my hand back down, in the reflection, all of a sudden now, the hand goes up. And what is that actually signifying? That's the clients coming in. That's the relationships. Maybe that's the health. Whatever your goals are, all of a sudden they come into fruition. And here's where it just like doubles down. Is that the old self, the devil, right? It says, oh, this is where the ego comes into place. Now, from the image, my hand is down. I look in the reflection and it's up. Like the clients came in and I'm like, well, shit, I didn't even have to do anything. That was cool. Like I'm just chilling, right? And all of a sudden my hand's up. The clients came in. I made the money, and I wasn't even doing anything. Cool. I'll just keep chilling. Don't have to do much, but all the results are coming in. I'm focused on the mirror. I'm focused on the results. I'm focused on the money. I'm focused on the effect rather than the cause. And then I just keep chilling. And then what ends up happening? The hand goes right back down. And then I'm like, and then it just doubles down on me. Where I'm just like, geez, I thought things were going good. But now, like, the money's not coming in anymore. The relationships aren't coming in anymore. What the heck? I thought things were going well. And it's because of the fact that I'm focused on the reflection rather than the image. Okay? When you focus on the reflection, that's what the old self wants. It's clinging on to its old self. It doesn't want to grow. It wants to keep you in this cycle. And I'm going to talk about the yo-yo effect here in a second. But if you're constantly looking at the reflection and thinking, that's how I'm going to win, I want to focus on making the money, I want to focus on everything outside of myself, that's when you lose, because you're constantly playing this dance of the up and down, but it's because it's a delayed mirror based on the image right here. So if you can constantly just be right here, look at the image, I'm doing the work, I'm proud of myself, yes, you're doing amazing, awesome, I love you, awesome. And yes, you can look over here every once in a while and understand, like, just get a gauge on what's going on, but you can't be dependent on this guy. If you're dependent on this guy, you're constantly looking at, how many likes did I get on this post? How many leads did I generate? How much money did we pull in today and yesterday and the day before? And if you're just constantly focused on that, you're going to be playing the yo-yo game. So let's talk about the yo-yo game. Yo-yo success versus elevated success. Really proud of that picture, by the way. Let me know how I did. Let me know how my art is. Maybe I could improve it a little bit. It's not the greatest, but I like it. So let's talk about yo-yo. Caught an alarm before it went off. Go me. Draw this. This isn't very. Yo-yo versus escalator success. Okay. So I'm just going to draw and depict this. This is exactly what happens all the time, no matter what, with most people. And I'm going to show you how to avoid this so that you reprogram your subconscious for good, so that you can avoid what we call the yo-yo success. Okay? So what happens is it like this. Okay? So this is the image. Okay, this is the image, this is raising the hand, and it goes up and down, up and down. And then what happens is that this guy follows. So that's the reflection, okay, and it's delayed, right? So you're putting in the work, you're doing all the things, and you hit that point, is what I was talking about, is like you're looking at this, and all of a sudden now you start putting more focus on the reflection, and then that's this point where you're like, this isn't working, right? So then what do you do here? You start going down, and that's when you're metaphorically putting the hand down, right? But what's happening is that this is following it, and then all of a sudden, like, when you put your hand down, that's when this guy is like right here, okay? But it's going to continue to follow this path, even though you're still like, right here, right? You're down. You've been putting your hand down for a little bit, and then all of a sudden this goes up, and it catches right here, and all of a sudden the money starts coming in, even though you're like your hand's down, right? And then it gets to the point where you're like, I'm chilling, I'm good. You're feeling really fine about yourself, because like I didn't have to do much, and all of a sudden I had all this money come in. I'm chilling, right? And then, but you're right here, and you're like, I don't have to do much. And then what happens? You keep the hand down, you keep the hand down, you keep the hand down, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, money's not coming in, nothing's going good, and you hit this like, oh shit moment, and then you're like, all right, let's get back to it. And you start going up, and you just create that cycle again, because then the money, we'll just go with money, is following. So like when you hit this mark, you're actually right here in terms of the external world. You start going back up, and you're like midway, and like no money's coming in, so you're like really freaking out. So then you put the gas on, you go up, and And then again, you hit the point where like, oh, gosh, this isn't even working. Like, what's the point? And then you let go of the gas, you come back down, and then this guy's following up, and then that's when the money comes in. You're right here internally, and your results externally are right there. Money's coming in, and you're like, hey, I'm chilling, I'm good. And you just keep on going through this pattern. And most people live out their entire life going through yo-yo success, a yo-yo existence, and then that's why they continue to stay stuck in patterns over and over and over again. And this doesn't matter if it's like making money in your business. It could be the cleanliness of your apartment or your car. Like, think about that. Is, you know, you might have things clean for a while, but then you let it go, and then you get to the point where you're like, oh shit, this is so filthy and dirty, I need to clean it. And it's just like this constant yo-yo. So how do we get out? How do we get out of yo-yo existence and rather go for escalator? Glad you asked. I really enjoy making these videos. I've only been making them for some time, but make sure, if you are new here, subscribe to the channel, because that tells me that people are enjoying these videos and I'll continue to make them. If you guys are enjoying other style videos, let me know about those ones. But I'm gonna keep on making whatever videos that you guys like, because that's the whole point of this, so that I can share this information that's relevant to you so it can actually help your life. I have no interest in reading this book just to read this book. I have no interest in using the delayed mirror just to use it. I have interest in all of these things so that I can bear more fruits in my life, so I can make more money, so I can have better relationships, so I can impact people and just help people along their journey. That's the whole point of this stuff. That's it. Okay? That's why I make these videos, to help you guys out so you can understand this stuff, know this stuff deep to your core. And when you truly understand this stuff, that's when you're gonna actually bear the fruit as well. So that's why it's so imperative that you listen to all these videos and you don't leave comments. I'm just gonna say that over and over again. Because to know and not to do is to not know. To not take notes and not to share is to not know, right? So have conversations with people, tell people about these concepts, because that's what's gonna help you internalize them and actually create the fruit. That's the point, okay? So with that being said, let's close that on this guy right here. So you're never gonna fully get rid of the yo-yo success. But here's the thing, is we wanna create escalator success, because basically what we wanna do is we wanna continue to raise the standard. We wanna actually like that. We want success to look like that. So more so is what we're doing is we're raising standards, and then we're setting new goals. We're raising standards and we're setting new goals. We're raising standards and setting new goals. And that's the power of raising your frequency. And this is when your subconscious is really being programmed, because essentially what's happening now, we've got escalator success, right? So how do we do this? Well, it's about continue to clarify the vision of what you are really going for and how you're becoming the best version of yourself. That's why we're so serious about the Vision Espresso. Vision Espresso helps you get very clear on where you're going. And to know where you're going, you have to know what you don't want. And so we have a whole process, and if you guys want to learn more about Vision Espresso, let us know down in the comments, or just hit me up on Skool or Instagram, just with the word espresso. But this is such a powerful tool. We use AI to help you get more clear, because of the fact that actually helps you raise your goals, but it also helps you raise your standards. But until you get very aware of what's going on, what's holding you back, you won't really know. And so that's what's really powerful about our accelerator program. I've become very, very good at recognizing where people's holes are. And we have our whole process to figure out where you are at, where you want to go, why, what's your values behind that, and then putting a plan of action together and having systems and processes that keep you on track to make you very aware on what's going on, like where are your flaws, where are your strengths, and how we can actually put together a plan of action to keep you accountable, and a customized game plan, and it can track your progress. We have these really cool sheets that like just basically show you, and it like turns red if you're staying accountable, it turns red if you're not staying accountable. It's a really cool process. So that's the whole point, is you want to get to the place where you're at an escalator success, and the only way you can do that is through I like to say is awareness and tracking. Vision and elevated emotions. Okay? That's why it's important. It's awareness, tracking, vision, and elevated emotions. When you can master all of those, that's when things really start elevating. Okay? And that's the whole point between the higher self, the lower self, why I'm so bought in on the Bible. This guy right here. And the delayed mirror, because the delayed mirror encapsulates all of that. Because if you just keep on following the mirror, you keep on looking at the reflection, hands are just going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. When you really want to just stay right here. Focus on this, keep raising the vision, raise the vision, get clarity on when your hand does go down. Get clarity on when your hand goes down so you can raise it up quicker. Because what happens a lot of time, and this is what I'll close out with, is that what a lot of times happen is like people put their hand down, they're looking at the reflection, man. And then they keep their hand down for much too long, and then they raise it up. And then it's up for a little bit, and then they raise it down, and it's down for way too long. Really the goal that we have watching these YouTube videos in our free community, in our soon paid community, in our accelerator program, our goal is to basically be like, you put your hand up, and then sometimes you put it down, and then you bring it back up. And you just like, it's more like this as you continue to grow, as opposed to coming down and losing that steam, losing that momentum. Instead, it's just like right here more. It's right here more. And you have far less of the downs, and that way you just continue to live life the way you truly desire. So, thanks for watching the video, guys. Make sure and subscribe if you haven't already. Love y'all. We'll see you on the next one.